hi. What's your name? Hi, Marcia. I almost erased you. I was gonna draw a car. You do? But you're a... Well, I don't know. A racing driver? Well, we can make that happen.
Hi, I'm Brendan Lee. I'll be taking you for a hot lap of Monza. Coming across the line to start a lap of Monza, open up DRS as soon as possible. Turn 1's the biggest stop of the F1 calendar, very easy to make a mistake here. Braking just after the 150 metre board and go down to third gear for the first part of the chicane. Avoid the social curve on the inside, but take the curves if you can. Down to second gear for the second part of the chicane, just get to nose in a bit better. Now on the traction, avoid the exit curve, it will just give you better traction if you stay on the track. Through the right hander, choose the path of least resistance, looking to minimise the friction on the tyres here to get yourself the highest top speed possible. Just after the 150 metre board, down to fourth gear, avoid the social curve on the inside, but take the curves if you can. Now on the exit, use a bit of the curve here, just opens up the track. After the 50 metre board, down to fifth gear. Use the camber of the track just to slingshot yourself in and slingshot yourself out. Through the right hander, track falls away, you get a bit of understeer. Use the curve on the exit, but don't use the astroturf, it will just give you wheel spin. Open up DRS as soon as possible. Through the left hander, bring the car over to the right. Now underneath the old F1 track, very historic. Braking at the 100 metre board, down to fifth gear, use all the track on the inside, but don't use the curbs on the inside here or the outside here, it just gives you wheel spin. Now through to the final turn. Braking at the AstroTurf when it ends on the left hand side, just before the 50 metre board, we go down to fifth gear here. We're looking to hug the inside, so into fifth gear. Smooth on the power, use all the track on the exit. Every millimetre of track here is an advantage to be gained, so you might as well take it. Up to 8th gear, and that's a lap of Monza.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us once again here on Next Gen Racing Productions. As you could have guessed, we are here at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix, race number 7 here in the Formula I season number 2. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump out there with, let's see who's out there on a flyer. Looks like Thomas Ziegler in the 4 machine. Looks like he's out on track on a flyer now, so we'll watch him. I believe that may be Mark Bruning just off behind him on his flying lap this time. 30 minutes of open qualifying for the Formula I drivers, who will be able to slot themselves into the provisional pole position here for today's Italian Grand Prix. There you seen Thomas Ziegler. I believe he is going to be coming up on Parabolica here at the end. That is the last corner, large sweeping corner here at Monza. The entry is a little bit tighter. The exit opens up and sweeps out back to this long front stretch. See where Thomas comes in at. Looks like he's put down a 2-minute lap here for his opening flying lap. Time should get a little faster this second time around, working his way through the first chicane and around Curva Grande. Gonna make his way around Curva Grande right here. Come around a little short stretch, in my opinion, up to the first chicane, or actually this would be the second. Turns 1 and 2 are more of the first chicane. Down into the Lesmos here, and then back to another straightaway before you hit the second chicane. Thomas looking good right now. As far as it sits, everybody that's came around for their first lap, Thomas is sitting ahead of everybody into this second chicane. You hear him hard on the brakes, down through the gears. Little bit of curbing there. Work his way back up here into Escara. I don't think he's made his way through Escara yet. I believe. Well, yes, he has. That was actually Escara that he came through right there and back down through Parabolica to complete his second flying lap. We'll have to see how much he's able to pick up here on this second lap. Looks like he's going to come across the line and picked up about 17 seconds there. So a heck of a job by him. But that time will be disallowed for exceeding track limits. So on top of the board right now is this man. You see him on screen. Mark Bruning, creator of the Blonde Bullet Motorsports Racing comic book. If you haven't already, go on to Amazon, type in Blonde Bullet, and you should see his comic pop up. Go and support one of your fellow drivers out there. Great little comic book that he's got going. Heck of a job through that first set of chicanes. And I'm probably going to keep getting which set of chicanes I'm on mixed up in through the Lesmos here. Going to come up this straightaway and down into Escara. After this little bit of a slight left bend, coming down through the tunnel. And here he is coming into Escara now. It's a right, left, right. Nice momentum. Kept the speed up through there. Carl Flemister in the 14 has managed to put his machine up on the provisional pole right now. Can Marcus Bruning go any faster for his what will be his third lap? There you see right there on his nose cone the Blonde Bullet crossing the line, picks up just a little bit, but still slide it back in the 6th position. We'll go on board. Let's see if we can't see where the 9 machine of Carlos Cotau is at, riding in his Heat Wave Design Scuderia AOD. Looks like he's just trying to get the tires warmed up now, so he won't be out there on for his fast lap just yet. Gonna have a excuse me, sorry about that. Going to have at least one more lap before he tries to put down the speed lap. We should see it this time, so we're going to jump on board right around from the cockpit of this 9 machine with Carlos on his flying lap. You see him right now in the 6th gear, coming down to this first set of chicanes. Hard onto the brake, down to 3rd, 2nd, all the way to 1st. I'll watch the wheel spin on corner exit here. Gonna come around up through the gears, through Curva Grande. As I said, it's a long sweeping curve, Curva Grande, allowing these drivers to get back on the gas hard, and now into the 2nd chicane, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, a little bit of curb, a little bit on the exit there. Heading down now to a fast-paced right-hander, first Lesmo. A little bit of curbing on the inside. Coming to the second Lesmo, 5th gear, down into 4th, a little bit of curbing as well. Back up through the gears once again. Gonna come through Escara this time here. Just a little bit of curb. Now down to this long straightaway into Parabolica. Down into 4th gear, putting the power down on the exit of Parabolica. Where will he shake out when he comes across the line? I'll have to wait, check it out, see where he does shake out. Crossing the line that time. Still running in the 6th position. And Cody Sandwith has been able to take away that provisional pole position in the 7 machine. We'll jump up with Cody here just momentarily. It looks like he is getting up to speed again. So we'll jump back here with the 7 of Cody Sandwith, as he's got a few drivers right in front of... Oh! Contact between his teammate and another driver, and that's going to force Cody wide here. So we'll jump back. And that looks like it is the 257 of Edgar Sancinelli that got involved there with the other driver. This is the 14 machine of Carl Flemister. As he came through the second chicane, a little wide there on the first Lesmo. We'll have to wait to see how he comes out of this second one. Looks like all the drivers except for 2 have laid down a lap here in qualifying. The 1 machine of Jason Siemens and the 452 of Kevin Mills yet to put down a timed lap. You see just off in the foreground, that was the 63 of Lyndall McMurphy. He is slotted in the 6th position as we sit, but nobody has been able to deal with that 7 of Cody Sandwith just yet. Still on provisional pole. Unfortunately for Carl, that last lap was disallowed due to exceeding track limits. Something these drivers have to be careful of, and he's going to jump out of the car. So we'll jump back up on board here. So we've got 3 drivers kind of all over each other right now, with more drivers approaching. That is Cody Sandwith, Patrick Charlton, and I believe that is the 9 of Carlos Cotal just behind them. And that Scuderia AOD, Mark Bruning, just behind these drivers, coming through the long straightaway now. And it looks like Cody is going to give way, so we'll jump back up here with Thomas Ziegert, ride around with him just a little bit longer here. Thomas finds himself sitting in 2nd, but as I've already stated, close to halfway on time here for open qualifying for the Formula I drivers here at the Italian Grand Prix, and nobody has been able to deal with Cody Sandwith on top of your board right now with a 142.774. Thomas Ziegert on screen in the 4 is about 0.2 of a second off of your pole sitter as we sit now. So we'll have to wait and see if any of these drivers choose to go back down on pit road, make a few adjustments and changes to the car, and try to go out and steal that pole position away from Cody Sandwith. And Thomas Ziegler to the top of the board. He was able to put down a lap just fast enough to steal that pole position away from Cody Sandwith. Beat him by .033. So snap your fingers. It's about that fast. The time difference between those top two drivers. Looks like we'll go back here. Let's highlight somebody real fast. Go back here as Jason Siemens finally out on track. There you see him in that bright yellow number 1 machine for the Siemens privateer driver. Caught behind a few other cars off track and around he goes. So we'll give him a second to gather that back up. Jump up here with the 452 of Kevin Mills as he is still trying to put down a fast lap. He finds himself back in the 8th position here in qualifying. 16 and a half minutes left out of the 30-minute qualifying session. And these drivers trying to squeeze every inch they can out of these fast, high-tech. Whoa, big moment for drivers there. Looks like Kotal went around, and Marcus Bruning may have went around as well. No, that was not Mark Bruning that went around. That was his teammate, however, that did go around. And Kevin Mills driving the Frito Sports 452. Can he improve on that 8th place slot here in qualifying? Crossing the line. Is he able to improve? No, he's not. Last lap was a 144. His best lap is a 143. So that lap is not going to help out his cause to try to get to the front. Thomas Eager in the 4 still sitting in the pole position. Cody Sandwith in a close 2nd, 3rd position to Danny Hoekstra. 4th goes to Lyndall McMurphy. 5th, Carl Flimster. 6th is Patrick Charlton. 7th, Carlos Kotal. 8th, Kevin Mills. 9th, Jake Finnerman. 10th goes to Mark Bruning. 11th, Florian Nieto. 12th position, Richard Swave. I'm not going to get his name right. Swavely, there you go. God, I was struggling with that one. 13th position, the 257 of Edgar Santinelli. So all drivers have turned in a timed lap, except for this gentleman right here. That is the 1 machine of Jason Siemens. He's going to try to come around and put down his fast lap hot on the trail of that 61 machine of Mark Bruning. Following him closely, getting a little bit of help from that slipstream as they enter into Parabolica. Bruning runs a little wide there through the center, and he's going to hit pit road. Jason Siemens, for his first timed lap of this qualifying session, finds himself slotted into the 10th position. We'll ride around with him just one more time here as he's on his, I guess you would call it the for real flying lap. Have to wait and see what he can get done. exit looked really good from that first Lesmo. Second Lesmo running a little bit wide off track, and he's going to shut it down. So let's see, who do we have a chance to ride with that we haven't yet? Let's go up here to the 8 machine of Christopher Brown. Man, that Haas Formula paint job looks absolutely amazing on that 8 machine of Christopher Brown. Christopher does find himself sitting 15th, out of 15th in a slow, lazy spin. He's going to get it out of the way. A little bit of contact with the wall, so we'll jump back with the 257 of Edgar Sancinelli, as he's still out there trying to put down some faster laps. He is slotted in the 14th position, but still on that pole position as of now is the 4 of Thomas Ziegler. All the drivers are out on track except for the 38 of Richard Swavely and Carl Flemister. Those two drivers in the paddock right now doing a little bit of changing, trying to get just a little bit more, responsiveness out of their Dallara F3 machines here at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix race number 7, season 2 for Formula I. Something I am going to keep in mind is to not do what I did last week. Have to remember to get to the grid show fast, as these drivers start from a standing start right there at the start finish line on the Formula grid. They do not take a lap around. So no rolling start for any of these drivers to try to get any advantage of slipstream on the start of this race. It's just a matter of when you can pull that clutch and hit the gas and get those rear tires to link up and put down the speed for you before you get into the first chicane, which we will keep an eye on. That turns 1 and 2 are likely to be a place we could see some heavy action at the beginning of this race. Here goes Mr. Sancinelli down into the curves at Ascara. A little bit of wide turn right there. Oh, gets crossed up and into that outside wall. He's going to need a new nose cone. That's for sure. He's going to bring it behind the wall. Let's see if we can't jump back on board here, and we'll take a lap with our gyro cam from this one machine of Jason Siemens from the Siemens Privateer Constructors. That was one flying lap around here at Monza with the driver of the Siemens Privateer #1 machine, Jason Siemens. Looks like Thomas Ziegler still slotted in that provisional pole. Almost 6 minutes left to go here in qualifying. And we will get things underway when the green lights go out here at Monza for race number 7, season number 2 for the Formula I drivers. Looks like the 3 of Patrick Woodstrup has hit the track as well. He is out for his flying lap, so let's see if we can't go get a camera on Patrick for a moment. There he is. I believe just behind his teammate of Jason Siemens. Yes, he is. And I do believe they are teammates. Oh, driver around. Mark Bruning goes around. Coming through Parabolica for the first time. Going to put down a time lap. But his next lap will be the one that he wants to get every bit of power out of the machine as his teammate goes back into the pits. We will ride along here with Patrick as he puts down his first main lap of this qualifying session. Now only 5 minutes remaining. If these drivers want to unseat Thomas Ziegler from that pole position, they are going to have to squeeze a little bit more out of the car, as Patrick Charlton in the 27 machine is about a half a second back from Thomas Ziegler. So Ziegler in full control of his destiny right now to starting this race. Gonna have to be careful though as they go down into turn number 1. Make sure he can get through there and get away cleanly. And then maybe Thomas will put on a show. We'll have to wait and see. All the drivers' times look relatively close to one another, so I don't think we're gonna have anybody just drive away from the field here tonight. Patrick Woodstrup does put in a timed lap, a 1:43.777. That's going to be only good enough for the 12th position. Your pole sitter, Thomas Ziegler, is on pit road in the paddock right now, just keeping an eye on that leaderboard. Will anybody have anything for him before the end of qualifying? 3 minutes left to go. I tell you what, we haven't spotlighted this gentleman just yet, so let's jump on board with him. This is the 199 of Jake Finnerman. Through Ascara, back down another long straightaway until he gets to the Parabolica here, and let's see where he's able to slot in with this time lap. His last lap by was a 1:46.619, as he has been out there for quite a number of laps. Crossing the line and going faster, but not picking up any time. That last lap was a 1:43.911. His fastest lap is a 1:43.328. He pulls to the side and jumps out of the vehicle. Few cars out there still on track. Florian Needle in the 13. Carl Flemister in the 14. The 1 machine of Jason Siemens. The 3 of Patrick Woodstrup. Richard Swavely also still on track. Christopher Brown. Carlos Gotau. Danny Hoekstra in the 4th position in the 91. Still trying to squeeze a few more laps out of his machine. But we have right at 1 minute left to go. Here in open qualifying, we do have our eyes on the timing and scoring. Keeping an eye out to see if anybody is going to be able to come and steal that pole position away from Thomas Ziegler. And I don't think anybody is going to have anything for Thomas, as we are now down to just about 30 seconds left here to go in open qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza on Next Gen Racing Productions. And man, there's not much left to do but to get to it. 5 seconds left. Open qualifying has ended. Your pole sitter for the Italian Grand Prix here today for Formula I's race number 7 will be the 4 machine of Thomas Ziegler. Few drivers out there trying to possibly squeeze in one more lap. 3 minutes left before we begin to grid. A few drivers cross the line before the checkered flag waved, so they're able to finish out their lap. Looks like most drivers are, however, back in the paddock, getting things ready for the race. It looks like 8 of our 16 drivers still managing to put down a flying lap. Minute and a half left remaining. Most drivers are now beginning to work their way back to the paddock. And man, oh man, things are gonna get crazy here. 1 minute left to go before this race begins. Let's see if... And no, it does not look like our pole sitter, Thomas Ziegler, is going to be available for an interview. So we'll just have to keep on rolling on. Looking to try to do something right here. I'm not sure it's going to work out for me, though. So, yeah. I guess that's that. You know, it is what it is. Whew, man, gotta catch my breath before things get super exciting here for the start of the Italian Grand Prix race number 7 here for the Formula I drivers on Next Gen Racing Productions. And man, oh man. Can't wait to see what happens here. Qualifying has now officially been put into the books. Can Ziegler make it 2 in a row? As gridding is going to begin here momentarily. And we will run through our grid show for you here today. As drivers begin to take to the grid, let's go ahead get this done and out of the way. Your grid for today's Italian Grand Prix: on the pole, the 4 of Thomas Ziegler; in second, the 27 of Patrick Charlton; third position, the 7 of Cody Sandwith, followed by the 91 of Danny Hoekstra. Starting in the 5th position, the 63 of Lyndall McMurphy, while Carlos Cotal in the 9 machine finds himself in 6th. Row number 4, the 14 of Carl Flemister and the 199 of Jake Finnerman. Row number 5, the 3 of Patrick Woodstrup and the 1 of Jason Siemens. 452 of Kevin Mills finds himself in 11th. 12th goes to the 61 of Mark Bruning. Row number 7, the 13 of Florian Needle and the 38 of Richard Swaverly. 15th position, the 257 of Edgar Sanchinelli and the 8 machine of Christopher Brown. That will round out the grid here for the Italian Grand Prix, and we are getting set to go green flag racing here at Monza. Waiting for the lights to come on and go back out. You'll hear those drivers begin to hit the gas, and we will be underway here in less than 20 seconds. Lights are out and we're off. Ziegler does not get a good start. Looked like Patrick Charlton and his teammate Cody Sandwith jumped all over him. Close quarters going into that first chicane. Oh, one driver goes around it. He's going to have to yield some time. As first and second, Sandwith and Hoekstra battling with each other through, I believe right now they are coming around Curva Grande, making their way back up to the second chicane. Still side by side. Second hasn't been decided just yet. Sandwith takes the position. Everybody through the first portion of the race clean. And we're going to try to keep an eye on a lot of different things going on here. Take a look back as these drivers are starting to sort those top 3 or 4 positions out. Looks like Jason Siemens has been able to come up to 8th position. Mark Bruning also gaining some positions on the start up to the 6th spot. And Thomas Ziegler has found himself all the way back in the 4th position from starting on the pole. Oh, and he runs wide. He runs wide through, I'm not even sure what corner that is. I believe that may have been Ascara as they are coming down to go through Parabolica now. Yes, that was through Ascara. He runs a little bit wide. And now looks like Carlos Cotal pushes the 4 of Ziegler a little bit wide there through Parabolica. They're side by side coming back down the front stretch. Ziegler able to slot in front of Cotal as they work their way back down to turns number 1 here in the first chicane. Ziegler on the brakes. Close battle. Oh, and something happened. Something happened. I believe that is Cody Sandwith back here. He had a little bit of a moment, so we'll back it up, try to catch that for you real quick. Let's see what happened here. Looks like he locked up the tires and just spun it around. He waits for the coast to be cleared, and he is going to be back racing in just a second. Back up with your leader, has a 3.5 second lead over second place runner, the 91 of Danny Hoekstra, looking through the rest of the field. Oh, Carl Flemister looks like he's had some trouble as well. Let's try to back it up and see what happened to Carl. Here you see everything go. Oh, and jumps the curb and around and into, I believe, that may have been the 61 of Mark Bruning. Yes, it was. Tough break for Mark. He's still out there on track, though, I believe. Looks like he does have a little bit of front wing damage on his machine. Definitely has some rear wing damage as well. He is going to have to bring it to pit road and try to get that machine fixed. Still a lot of racing left to do here at Monza, but that machine is extremely tore up on the rear end. As we take a look back through the gearbox here, you can see sitting sideways and bent is that rear wing. That is going to cause a lot of handling issues here today for the 61 of Mark Bruning. Back up at the front, your race leader still has a 3.5 second lead over the 91, and on to pit road goes Mark Bruning in the 61. With the trouble with Cody Sandwith, that has allowed this gentleman right here, Thomas Ziegler, to work his way back up into the third position, right behind Hoekstra, as they work their way through. I believe that is Lesbo number 1. And Carlos Cotal was all over the gearbox of that 91 as well. Just behind them, that one machine of Jason Siemens has been able to come all the way up through the field into the 5th position. He has the 199 of Jake Finnerman right behind him, keeping an eye on things. Everything looks to be going smooth for all the drivers now. We'll continue through the field in a moment. Going to keep our eye on this little battle that is taking place for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Heck, you can even throw in 5th and 6th if you want. They're right there as well if one of these drivers makes a mistake. And now Ziegler beginning to open up a gap on Hoekstra, who still has a gearbox full of Carlos Cotal. And Siemens. No, that was not Siemens. I do apologize. I believe that was the 14 of Carl Flemister coming back on track after an extended stay on pit road. These drivers all will need to make at least one pit stop, possibly 2 here at Monza. And Hoekstra keeping that inside lane as you look off of the nose cone of the driver in 2nd place. That is Thomas Ziegler just off in the distance going around. The first Lesmo was Patrick Charlton in the Radar Racing 27. 4 drivers now battling for position. Hoekstra, Cotal, Siemens, Finnerman all over each other, trying to decide who is going to run in that final podium position. Great racing action going on so far out there today from all of these drivers. And it looks like Hoekstra is able to start to step away from the field, so we'll just continue to watch this now 3-car battle between Siemens, Finnerman, and Cotal. Cotal getting past, coming through the Parabolica. Finnerman making the move to the inside, slots just in front of him. Tucks right into the slipstream of Siemens to try to give way. And looking to the inside into the first chicane. Move to the inside, under braking. It works. Little bit of contact there by Siemens. Almost contact between himself and Cotal. As, man, this 4th place position has gotten a little bit heated. This battle has. Down into the 2nd. Oh, and big moment there for Siemens. He has to check up and on the brakes pretty hard. Cotal's going to take that position away. Try to set his sights now on the 199 of Jake Finnerman. As Finnerman has been able to put a 1.3 second gap over those 2 drivers of Cotal and Siemens, running 5th and 6th. little bit of cleanup as we are already 15 minutes into this 45-minute race. 16 drivers took to the grid. 15 drivers still running. Unfortunately, the 452 of Kevin Mills had an incident and is off track in the paddock, packing things up. 15 drivers still out on track. However, the 14 of Carl Flemister, running in 15th position, does find himself one lap down. And as of right now, if things kind of sit the way that they do, this gentleman right here, Mark Bruning, gonna have a quite lonely of a race. Nobody around him for, I would like to say miles, but nobody around Mark for a good distance in front, good distance behind. He was involved in an earlier incident, able to get onto pit road, have that rear wing fixed. He's back out running very competitive laps, seated in the 14th position. Looking up through the field to try to see what our closest battle is, and it looks like it is between Richard Swavely and Cody Sandwith. That is for 9th and 10th position on track. These drivers find themselves about 22 seconds behind your race leader of Patrick Charlton, who is starting to give up a little bit of time to that 4 of Thomas Ziegler. Thomas able to cut a little over a second out of the leader's gap. That gap now down to 2.4 seconds. And Sandwith looking to the inside, going into Parabolica. He takes the position away from Swaverly with ease, keeping it wound up out there near that white line, right near the track limits. And there you see a ton of cars still right up in front. So Sandwith got to have his head down, elbows up, and go out there and try to get the job done. And it looks like we may have had some trouble here from Woodstrup. Woodstrup was awfully slow. We'll go back just for a second and look at this turn number one more time. So it looked like he got through there extremely slow. He just had to check up a little bit more than the drivers around him. And Carlos Cotau has been off track. We'll have to take a look back and see what happened to Carlos here. Oh, just gets loose, jumps over all those curbs. Oh, almost into the wall. That could have ended a lot worse for Carlos than what it did. He's able to get it pointed back in the right direction. A lot of sand and gravel all over those tires. And you see another driver having trouble just behind them. That is... whew, that is not where you want to be. And Cody Sandwith has now been able to come all the way back up to the 8th position, making the pass on Carlos after Carlos had some issues and trouble. Man, things are just never settled, never done. One false move here at Monza can spell disaster. But the man on the move for today's race has been this number 1 of Jason Siemens, coming down into turns 1 and 2, the first chicane. Now he will try to put the power down back around Curva Grande and make his way towards the second chicane. The second chicane, before he has to deal with those fast right-handers, the first and second Lesmo. Great action out there on track so far from all of these drivers. And Swaverly hits pit road in his 38 machine. looks like he is down and away. 6.9 second stop for him and his crew. Judging by the pit road time, looks like our pit delta is going to be somewhere around the 32 to 34 second range. So a lot of time to be made up on and off pit road if you can manage to squeeze a little bit more speed than your competitors out of it. Thomas Ziegler, however, has steadily cut in to your race leader's gap. There you see him now, right in his sights. Only 1.9 seconds behind your race leader. Thomas Ziegler is on an absolute mission to go up there and take the position away after being today's pole sitter. He was last week's race winner at Silverstone. Can he make it 2 in a row? I'm not sure, but he is surely trying to get that job done. Edgar Sancinelli in the 257 was closing distance on the 63 of Lyndall McMurphy. So we'll keep our eye on this little battle going on as well. As you're going to see him come through the Lesmos here. And you know what? I kind of don't like that camera, so we're going to stay away from that one for a little while. Edgar Sancinelli sitting in the 11th position. Now that race lead has been cut to just over a second, so we're going to jump back up here as things are heating up front between Charlton and Ziegler. Who wants it? Who's going to get it? Who's going to take it? Crossing the line that time, Ziegler was about a half a second faster. That last lap, fastest lap of the race for these Formula I drivers in these Dallara F3s. Thomas Ziegler putting down the fastest lap of the race that last lap. A 1:43.111 for the 4 machine of Ziegler. You can see Ziegler's hands moving. He is on the wheel trying to get to that gearbox, the real rear wing and gearbox of the 27 of Charlton. A little bit more cleanup for us here today for the Italian Grand Prix. Out of the 16 drivers that took to the grid for the race today, 14 drivers still out on track. The 38 of Richard Swavely and the 452 of Kevin Mills find themselves out of the Italian Grand Prix. Just about halfway into the race, Carl Flimster in the 14 machine is the first car 1 lap down. However, we all know road course racing, iRacing, does not have full course caution, so no safety car going to be employed or implemented in today's race. It's all a management of those tires. And looks like Thomas Ziegler is able to squeeze a little bit more out of his tires than the rest of the field at this point in time. Now within that 1 second range, going into the second chicane through Lesmo 1 around to Lesmo 2. Under a second now. 7/10 is all that separates your race leader, Patrick Charlton, from Thomas Ziegler. Danny Hoekstra still finds himself in third. Fourth position, Jake Finnerman. Fifth, Jason Siemens. Sixth position, the 3 machine of Patrick Woodstrup. Seventh goes to Cody Sandwith. Eighth position, the 13 of Florian Needle. Ninth, the 63 of Lyndall McMurphy, rounding out your top 10. The 9 machine of Carlos Cotau. Edgar Sanchinelli finds himself in the 11th position, while Mark Bruning finds himself in 12th. 13th is the 8 of Christopher Brown, and rounding out the field of drivers still out on track is the 14 machine of Carl Flemister. Ziegler has been able to catch up to the gearbox of Charlton, but hasn't been able to use this slipstream to his advantage to make a pass just yet. Keeping an eye on the rest of the field. And it looks like Jason Siemens is starting to close the distance on the 199 of Jake Finnerman. We'll take a look back really fast at this battle that is developing on track. There you see Finnerman just up in front of Siemens right now, going through, I believe that is the first Lesmo. May have been the second. No, that is the first. Maybe the first. No, that was actually Curva Grande as they were working their way through the second chicane. Now they're coming to the Lesmos. And that battle is getting closer up front. Let's jump back up front with your race leaders. Battle for the lead. Coming into Ascara's almost side by side. Oh, they touch. Ziegler with a moment there. They touched. Trying to get through Ascara side by side. Let's back it up. Take one more look at this. My goodness. Down into Ascara. Ziegler on the outside. Charlton on the inside. Oh, a little bit of touch on that pod. On the side pod. Ziegler able to gather it up. Get back on the gearbox. And try to chase down Patrick Charlton once again. That lead has now grown to a 1.6 second lead. So Ziegler with a tall task at hand to run him down for a second time here in the Italian Grand Prix, race number 7 for the Formula I drivers here on Next Gen Racing Productions. And while we have a little bit of lull in the action, and just as I say that, Siemens in the number 1 machine for the Siemens Privateer Constructor Team has closed the distance in on the 199 of Jake Finnerman. This battle is for the 4th and 5th position. Still going to keep our eye up there on your race leader, Charlton still has about a 7/10 second lead over Ziegler. Will Ziegler be a little more cautious trying to make the pass this time by? We'll have to wait and just find out. That gap has closed to about a 6/10 of a second gap. Cody Sandwith also within a half a second of the 13 of Florian Needle. That will be for the 7th and 8th position. So a few smaller battles going on right now out there on track. Nobody onto pit road except for a few drivers that had some early issues. Mark Bruning, Carlos Cotau, Carl Flemister, all with a stop on pit road. Richard Swavely looks like he's still down there trying to work on that machine. He's being shown in the 15th position, 5 laps down as we run right now. And as things start to kind of sort themselves out just a little bit more, we'll go back up front here with your race leader as we're going to take a quick second here at Next Gen Racing Productions to give you a little bit more out there. Want to give a big shout out to Mark Bruning and all the time, effort that was spent on creating and bringing you this great comic book, The Blonde Bullet. A little bit of side-by-side action. You won't miss any of the action on track here from the Italian Grand Prix on Next Gen Racing Productions. And as promised, didn't miss any of the action while we were gone. Still leading today's race, Patrick Charlton in the 27 still has an 0.8 of a second lead over the 4 machine of Thomas Ziegler. Everybody still out on track rolling. And it looks like Florian Needle has been able to catch up with Lyndall McMurphy. Oh, nice move there coming out of the first chicane. Florian not able to keep the power down and make the pass, but that was a heck of a job. And just as we went back, we've had a change for the lead. We'll take you back so you don't miss this lead change here. Ziegler all over the gearbox of Charlton. Makes the move out wide, down into Escara. This time he drives it in deep and makes the pass with ease. Just as I say that, guess what's happened again? Another change for the race lead. So these drivers, as I was trying to show you that, they're mixing it up here at front. So we're just going to stay here with the live action so we don't miss another pass for the race lead, as Ziegler and Charlton are starting to mix things up. 16 laps into this Italian Grand Prix. We're going to get about nine more laps or so left. Will either of these two drivers pit? Not looking like they're going to right now. They got a battle on. Oh! Charlton with a big moment. Big wiggle through the second chicane. Down through Lesmo number 1. Ziegler all over the rear gearbox. I said rear gearbox. I actually said that. They don't have a front gearbox, so that was a little irrelevant. But anyways, nonetheless, these two drivers putting on one heck of a show, one heck of a battle. First position still not settled just yet. Jason Siemens, the man on the move throughout most of today's race, has only been able to come up to the 5th position and is kind of stalled out there. He finds himself 2.5 seconds behind your 4th place runner, Jake Finnerman. And Ziegler with a big look to the inside, coming around. I believe that was coming around Parabolica. Yes, it was. Back down through the front stretch. Will he use the slipstream? Charlton to the inside. Ziegler to the inside. Man, things are getting close and heated. Oh, he's going to have to get on the brake. Try to get a better entry line here into the first chicane. Charlton able to keep Ziegler behind him through the first chicane and around Curva Grande this time. with just under 12 minutes left to go in this 45-minute race here at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix for these Formula I drivers, presented to you by Next Gen Racing Productions, broadcast across Twitch, YouTube, as well as Facebook. If you haven't already, give these drivers a like. Go ahead on over there and click the subscribe button. Show me you like what's going on out there. Click the bell. Smash that bell. Get notified anytime we go live here on Next Gen Racing Productions. Tons of 10 top NASCAR style racing, spotting going on as well, crew chiefing. We have on tap tomorrow morning the Sunday Hangover IndyCar League. We will have that race firing off at around 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, so keep your eye out for that, as well as those drivers will be hitting, I believe, they will be hitting Kentucky next week for their first open setup race of their season. But right now, we still have to deal with Patrick Charlton and Thomas Ziegler. They haven't settled it just yet. Ziegler gets through the first part of chicane number 1 very well, but has to get onto the brakes as not to damage his front wing in the nose cone on the gearbox of Patrick Charlton, who is still leading this race. And a great recovery out there for the 61 of Mark Bruning. He finds himself now slotted in the 10th position. Mark was running up around the 6th spot, had some early contact, had to come down to pit road to get it fixed, was all the way back in 14th at one time, and has made his way up to the 10th position. Looks like we only have about 7 coming to almost 6 laps left to go here in the Italian Grand Prix. Just under 9 minutes left. Will these two front runners, Charlton and Ziegler, put on a show to the end? Or will Charlton begin to scoot away as he's opened that gap back up to about a half a second over Ziegler? And Ziegler is getting through that first chicane like it is nobody's business. Gains a lot of ground through that first chicane, but then gives up just a little bit as they come closer to the second chicane. That lead now almost a full second. Now a second and a half. So Ziegler may have abused those tires just a little bit too much to go up there and challenge Patrick Charlton for the race win in the race lead. Back down through Ascara again. Now gonna go down the long straight to get back to Parabolica. Just over 7 minutes left remaining in this 45-minute race session, and Jake Finnerman is beginning to reel in our final podium position, being held now by the 91 of Danny Hoekstra. Will Hoekstra be able to hold on to that position as we seen a lap car kind of move out of the way there? That is the 257 of Edgar Sancinelli moving out of the way for your front runners. but could that lap car become a factor in the race for the final podium position? We'll have to wait and find out. We're waiting for your race leaders to come by this camera here. There you see them streaking by. Oh, and Siemens, I believe, has some trouble. He's on pit road. Jason Siemens has hit pit road. Not sure if he had any issues or not. Doesn't look like he did. On and off of pit road within a 31.7 pit delta, so it looks like everything went okay for him, but not so sure these front runners are going to make a pit stop. That's going to relegate Siemens all the way down to the 8th position. Made his pit stop from the 5th position. Trying to keep a hold of everything going on track as we're starting to have some differences in pit strategy. Looks like about 8 of the 16 drivers have elected to just stay on track and not come down to pit road. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. Have to see if any more drivers decide to come down and hit pit road before the end of this race, as we are reaching the 5-minute mark left here in the Italian Grand Prix, the 45-minute race for the Formula I drivers for race number 7 in season number 2 for these drivers. And fastest lap right now was taken back away from Ziegler by Patrick Charlton in that 27 machine, and he is beginning to open up that, runs over the curbs and a little bit wide. That's going to put Ziegler right on his gearbox. And the pass is made going into the first Lesmo. Will Charlton try to get it back here coming out of the second Lesmo, going down and heading towards Ascara? Looks like Ziegler's going to be able to scoot away as of right now. Man, things are getting heated up here with only 4 minutes remaining in the Italian Grand Prix. Through Ascara cleanly is your top 2 drivers. They're going to have to possibly deal with that 9 machine of Carlos Cotal there in the foreground of your screen, running in the 11th position, last car on the lead lap. Danny Hoekstra has not been able to close the distance. He still finds himself 0.8 of a second behind your race leaders, battling it out lap after lap. Ziegler cuts to the inside to block the inside move. Gonna force Charlton the long way around back into chicane number 1. Charlton used the slipstream and the momentum. He takes the inside. Oh, and they bump wheels. Hard contact there from the front wheels of Charlton and Ziegler. Ziegler put his right front wheel right into the left rear wheel of Charlton. Hopefully that did not damage anything on Ziegler's car, and Charlton looks to be okay. No damage on his right rear. Left rear, I should say. And the battle rages on. Just under 3 minutes now. 3 laps left remaining in today's race, and Jason Siemens has been able to catch up and pass a few drivers, finds himself back into the 6th position, running almost 3 seconds behind the 63 of Lyndall McMurphy. And I've got a feeling these drivers are going to try to utilize Carlos Cotal's 9 machine to their advantage. Will Charlton try to pull the slipstream and move late here coming towards Ascara? Both drivers do. Less than 2/10 separate your leaders. Coming around Parabolica for the 22nd time so far here in the Italian Grand Prix for the Formula I race number 7. 2 laps left to go here at Monza battle for the race lead side by side. Ziegler and Charlton down into the first chicane. Charlton has the preferred position. He's able to take the corner and scoot away in first as they begin their way around Curva Grande for what will be... Don't think it's going to quite be the final time. I think they're going to have to go one more lap around. So Ziegler's time is running out. 1 minute left remaining here in the Italian Grand Prix. Which one of these two drivers wants it more? And Charlton able to scoot away to a 1.8 second lead. And I believe as long as he keeps it clean through Parabolica, he will come around to begin the last lap of the race. 20 seconds left to go for the official time. Race time has ran out. This is your final lap. Patrick Charlton leading the field by almost 2 seconds. Thomas Ziegler running in second. Valiant effort all day by Ziegler to try to regain the race lead. He was able to do it once or twice, but he could not hold off the surging and powerful 27 machine of Patrick Charlton, who is going through the second chicane. He will come around, make his way into the two Lesmos here at Monza. Lesmo one down, one more to go. And he will begin his long trek down this straightaway to get to Escara. Into Escara for the final time. Your race leader, Patrick Charlton, wheeling that 27 back to the front into the first position. He has led 22 out of the 24 laps ran here at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix for Formula I's race number 7, and coming across the line out of Parabolica. Crossing the line first will be the 27 of Patrick Charlton, taking the race win. Thomas Ziegler crosses in second. Third will be Danny Hoekstra as he makes his way to the line, followed by the 199 of Jake Flemister. These drivers beginning to make their cool down laps. We'll watch a few more drivers coming to end their race. Jason Siemens, Cody Sandwith. Cody with a great recovery from an earlier incident as well. Finds himself slotted in the 6th position. Jason Siemens with his pit stop fell to 8th. Was able to regain that 5th position. So those fresher tires did work out for him, just not enough time to gain any more positions on the field. And that is just about it for our race drivers. A few more to cross the line for the final time just behind them. As you see, some drivers, Patrick Charlton, Thomas Ziegler, hanging out, waiting for their driver interviews here. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and break away for a quick commercial break. We will be right back with all of your post-race interviews here on Next Gen Racing Productions from the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Back on track, ready to get driver interviews underway here for the Italian Grand Prix, and we have been lucky enough to grab a hold of your race winner, and that is going to be the 27 machine of Patrick Charlton. Patrick, you got us, bud?
I do indeed.
Well, now everybody can hear you because I unmuted you, so you got us still?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear, boss man. And one heck of a race out there for you in the Radar Racing guys. Your teammate had a little bit of trouble early in the race, was able to kind of dig and claw his way back up to a 6th place finish. But you, my man, finishing on top of the podium.
Yeah, that was a super tough race. It was a lot of fun, though. I mean, Thomas is by far the fastest driver in the league, and it took an almost perfect race and a lot of racecraft to beat him, because he's and a good deal of luck as well, because he's something else. He's another level above all us guys.
Well, tell us a little bit about your race and about that start. It looked like Thomas struggled a little bit on the start, and is that what you needed? Is that the opportunity that you needed to walk away with the race win?
Well, Cody and I knew that Thomas was going to be really tough to beat, and we needed to do something other than just raw pace. So we've been tinkering around with race setups and trying to get like really good, straight line speed. But I've also switched to a hand clutch for the last couple of races. Just trying to figure out how to get a better start. So I must have practiced a couple of hundred starts over the last week or two, just trying to find the right bite point. And I got a really good start. He got an okay-ish start, and that was enough. And then I think Cody got a good start and did a great job in holding him up a little bit for me. Gave me a nice little buffer for the first 7-8 laps.
At any point in time, because I noticed a few drivers had to pit for some race incidents early lap 1 or 2 or so, but I noticed one driver in particular, Jason Siemens, he hit pit road about halfway through the race, or a little bit more towards the end of the race. Was it always the strategy for a no-stopper here at Monza for you in the Radar Racing team?
Yeah, to be fair, we didn't even consider the fuel stops. I mean, there's just too much time taken up by it. And Cody set up a beautiful car that was very good and easy on the tires. I was trying to keep it, as gentle as I could the first 10 laps, because I knew Thomas was going to be faster than me. And I knew that I just had to keep the tires in good shape. And then I got super fortunate when he tried to overtake me. I made it a little bit difficult for him, and he just chopped the end of his wing on my tire, and it just slowed him down just enough for me to be competitive with him.
All right, Patrick. Well, once again, man, great job out there today. Great job bringing it home on top of the podium, first place. Before we let you go and ride off into the sunset with your trophy, you want to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous to anybody out there watching?
No, just a big thank you to Cody, my teammate. He set up a beautiful car today. I couldn't have done it without him.
All right, Patrick. Well, we will catch up with you not next week, but in 2 weeks when we go back Green Flag Racing.
Great. Thank you very much.
There you have it. That was your race winner, the 27 machine of Patrick Charlton, and we will now see if we can't get in a few words with your second place finisher for today's race. See if we can't get a hold of Thomas. Thomas, you got us?
Hi, yeah, I'm in.
How you doing, bud?
I'm sweating. This was a very, very intense race with Charlton. This was very intense. Great race.
The action you guys put on out there on track was making me sweat, and I ain't even in a race car. A heck of a drive. Had a little bit of trouble on the start of the race. Why don't you walk us through that right there?
Yeah, I did too much Formula 3.5 racing during the week, and there you don't push the gas 100%. And I didn't remember, and I don't practice my start, so I only took 50%, and this was too slow, I think.
Well, off to a slow start to the race. It fell back to the 4th position. Ran back all the way up to 2nd. Battled side by side for the lead of the race. A little bit of contact with your front wing into the rear wheel of Charlton. Did you think that may have ended it for you there when that happened, or did anybody come across and let you know, it's going to be okay?
No, the first touch was okay. I thought I had front wing damage, but it was okay. Yeah, but I have a lot of black flagging to the first chicane because I pushed so hard there. Because Patrick's setup was made for the straights, and I lost there the whole speed. So it was the only chance to overtake him, and hoping that he did some mistakes, so I can run away. But the second touch of us, where I touched him in the first chicane, it was a little bit harder. And since then, I stopped chasing. So I said, okay, that's done.
All right, Thomas. Well, man, a heck of a job out there. You did have the pole position as well, so want to congratulate you for doing that. Also finishing the race up in the 2nd position on the podium. But before we let you go and ride off into the sunset here today, would you like to give any shout outs, thank yous, love yous, anything like that to anybody watching or that will watch?
I thank the whole Formula E team. It's a great team. It's a great broadcast, and I thank Patrick for this awesome race. A nice one. See you next time.
All right, well, we will catch up with you in 2 weeks, Thomas. Once again, good job, bud.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
There you have it. That was your 2nd place finisher, the 4 of Thomas Ziegler. And I believe we have been able to secure our final podium driver, Danny Hoekstra. I believe he is going to be able to join us here in the booth. Let's see if we do got him. Danny, you got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, how you feeling out there?
First podium, so kind of glad. This is usually not my track, so I was anxious, and I was kind of trying to survive the first chicane, and I did it, luckily, and got 2nd quite quick. So that was a really good start, and from there on, I just tried to survive, manage the tires, etc.
Well, man, once you found yourself in, it was right around that 3rd, 4th position, you were able to pretty much hold suit for the rest of the race. Did your crew chief or any teammates or anything talk to you about a possible pit stop, or was the team ready for a no-stop race here at Monza?
Yeah, we were ready for a no-stop race because the setup that we used was quite safe on the tires for the race. And Jake, my teammate, that ended 4th, really good. He hasn't practiced for a long time because of his moving. But he was behind me, driving round about the same times because he usually is way quicker. So I was glad that he could catch up and still stay in range. And we talked a lot during the race because he had no sound at all. So it was really struggling for him. But he catched up later on but made a small mistake. So I was able to maintain the position, keep the tires a bit in the range and finish great for my skills.
Well, Danny, man, congratulations for your first podium finish, your first post-race interview as well. And as I stated to you while we were getting everything sorted out for our driver interviews here, our post-race interviews, hope you enjoy some of the content I captured for you. Tried to make sure I got some good action out there for you, buddy. And once again, congratulations. And would you like to give any shout outs to anybody that's watching or will watch?
Well, I really want to shout out to my teammate for his awesome driving with no sound at all, and also without practice for like 3 months. He was not really used to the new tire model. He tried it a bit, but not that much. And yeah, he kind of stayed with me the whole race, and also was really fast. So I'm really glad that our team Blue Flags was able to get a third and fourth position. It was amazing. And I'm going to watch the broadcast later on, so I will definitely check out if you got all the nice action on track.
All right, bud. Well, hopefully I don't disappoint you, and we'll catch up with you in 2 weeks at the track.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.
There you have it. That was driver of the 91 machine, Danny Hoekstra, walking away with his first podium finish of the season. First time up here for post-race interviews as well for him. So not much left to do after this great, exciting race put on by the Formula I drivers for the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. So we're going to do what we always do. We're going to run through your finishing order for you. Throw it up on screen. There it is. Let me double check something, make sure everything's what it should be. Does look like it. Race winner walking away in first today, the 27 of Patrick Charlton. Second position, the 4 of Thomas Ziegler. Third position goes to the 91 of Danny Hoekstra, while Jake Finnerman finds himself in fourth. Rounding out your top 5 was the 1 machine of Jason Siemens, while Cody Sandwith fought and clawed his way back to the 6th position. Running in 7th at the end of the race, the 13 machine of Florian Needle, while Mark Bruning in the 61 slots in 8th. 9th position goes to the 3 of Patrick Woodstrip. 10th, the 63 of Lyndall McMurphy. 11th position, the 9 of Carlos Cotau, and the 12th position to the 257 of Edgar Sanchinelli. 13th position, the 8 machine of Christopher Brown. 14th to the 14 machine of Carl Flemister. 15th position, the 38 of Richard Swavely. And rounding out your field in 16th position, the 452 of Kevin Mills. So, that's all been done. That's all over with. Nothing left to do here at Next Gen Racing Productions except roll up the cords, get the mics, and head back across the pond to get ready for tomorrow's broadcast. But man, these Formula I drivers have put on an absolute show every time we get to join them on track. I want to give a special shout out to all of the drivers out there on track today. It was an absolute great race, great action all throughout the race. And man, I'm just glad I get the opportunity to come and sit and watch all of the great racing action week after week. Shout out to Mark Bruning and the Blonde Bullet Motorsports Racing comic book. If you haven't already, go on over there to Amazon.com, look them up. Go ahead and support a fellow driver, fellow iRacer, and grab you a copy or two of that comic book. And well, guys, I think that's pretty much it for us here at Monza. So we're going to leave you with just a little bit of a clip. And yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks once again for Formula I.